April 2016. I'd had really bad backache for many years, but it was suddenly escalating a lot. So I had an x-ray, nothing shown up. One night I suddenly got so ill, I banged on the floor. My neighbour came up and I asked him to phone the out-of-hours doctor for me. When he said she's now throwing up blood, then she said, oh, we'll get a doctor to phone you straight back. All I can remember after that is that I was writhing around in agony on the floor. All my body was hurting, I was hot, sweating, and my eyes couldn't bear any light. The ambulance couldn't find the place because the postcode was wrong. Eventually they came in, just said, right, get in the ambulance. I was conscious and everything, and they said, oh, as a precaution, we take next of kin. So I said, oh yeah, my mum. And then I said, oh, you're not going to ring them now, are you? She goes to bed at 10 o'clock at night. So they put on the notes not to ring mum, ever. They tested my blood pressure. Next thing I remember them just rushing me onto a bed, and I started getting a bit unconscious. I was going straight to ICU. Of course, they didn't ring my mum. I don't remember nothing else after that, really. I was just straight onto a life support machine, and I went into a coma. And they just whacked loads of meds into me. They didn't know what it was for 5 days. Well, after day 4, they was getting a bit nervous about the life support machine. At that point was when they finally decided to ring my mum and said, well, this would be the last chance to see her alive. It just came out of nowhere. Mum was like, what the hell? Because she quite often didn't hear from me for 4 days. They finally got hold of an expert doctor. And I had a tumour on my adrenal gland, about the size of a lemon. Very, very rare. 1 in 100,000. Mum was at the hospital by this time. She rang my sister. My sister came rushing straight down. Then on day 5, I suddenly remember waking up. I had no idea 5 days had gone by. I couldn't believe it. When I first came round, I couldn't walk, talk, or read or write or anything. They treated me amazing. They said, oh, anything you want, anything you want. And doctors just kept coming in. They wanted to see me. They wanted to see me alive. They couldn't believe it. They were pretty amazing. They were amazing in there. One of the nurses came in and said, you want to be part of this scheme, which is for people who've been through trauma and ICU and all. And I said, oh, yeah, of course. But it was just basically a few leaflets and a CD to watch. It didn't really relate to me, to be honest. There was lots of talk about they were going to do all these follow-ups, but I didn't have any kind of service provider, anything, just repeat prescriptions. I just couldn't compute it. Nobody was explaining to me about this pheochromocytoma. It was all quite confusing, and I didn't really have any information apart from whatever was on the internet. It was still sat in my body. The actual doctor who was going to do the op came a couple of times and chatted to me. He said it's the size of a grapefruit now. They were monitoring my brain damage and monitoring my heart damage until I came home after the op. I'd lost all the threads I had on the go before I got ill, which was just coming together nicely. At the beginning it was like, oh, everything was amazing, I was alive, I was out taking photos of sunsets and sunrises, but that kind of wore off, and I didn't get any help mentally or with stress. It could get doom and gloomy. You could think, why did I survive? I had to really pull myself up, go, you're not going down that road, you're going out with your camera, taking amazing pictures of where you live and going out for massive long walks. Still very nervous, but I was just relieved to get that bloody thing out of me.